It's BeThe podcast, episode 9. We're back again at the Morton Estate, so you know it's going to be a great addition. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at BeThe podcast. And that's just the marketing for the video. So now we'll get more into our practical information and give you guys some game and give ourselves some games by us talking to each other. So with that, I'm kicking off to Marquand Jones.
Yeah, so for me, moral of the story is, y'all know we like to teach y'all a lot and tell y'all about how to get from this position to the next position. But big factor is that we trying to figure out things just like y'all are. Mm-hmm. We might apply ourselves differently than the next individual, but that's part of life. Everybody is on a different path and stuff. So for me, in the last 2 hours, God taught me a lot about myself, bro. Like I said, I was studying before I got here, and God was like, I'm about to hit you with a hard punchline, because I started studying the traumatic traits of fatherless young men, and I realized that the traits of the men is same with the women. So this applied to every young girl and every young man that didn't have a positive male figure in their life. So for me, God was like, okay, this the traits you studying, but you not knowing that the studying that you doing, I'm about to expose you to. Like, I didn't realize that. So, the second trait I've been studying, it says there is a fierce independence because of lack of trust of all authority figures. All authority figures. So that means a lot of young men in the streets, the only authority figures we like to look up to is somebody with the same mindset as us. Somebody who has a poverty mindset like us when we was in the streets. That's why you see so many young men getting killed and doing whatever they want to. But when somebody tries to hold them to a higher standard, for some reason, their demons is itching. Their demons is crying out and they angry because positivity is hitting them. They're not used to that. And then it says some men who have experienced fatherlessness have a hard time inwardly submitting to any form of spiritual authority. Even if they outwardly attempt to do so, they mostly make their own decisions without getting real counsel. And if they do get counsel, they will ultimately do what they want anyway, because they don't believe anyone fully looks out for their interests. So for me, when I was getting out of the streets, my hardest phase of my life, like I didn't have my first positive male figure in my life until 2014, as far as adult, and that's my coach Chris Brown. Thanks to him for credit for helping me change after I got to a certain level in life. But through that phase in the streets, like I said, I got out the streets by myself, strictly me and Jesus Christ. I didn't have a physical male figure there to help me get out the streets. You was there, like I said, but you had a lack of maturity too. You was trying to figure out your life and how to stop messing with so many girls and how to stop messing up in school. Facts. And stop disrespecting people and stop disrespecting your teachers and being disobedient to God's word. We was all trying to figure it out. And for me, I'm like, yo, I have mentors, but I wasn't listening to them. Sometimes I still don't listen to them when they give me advice, even though I know they already got to a certain level I want to get to. So this is what I struggle with. It's the biggest traumatic trait of me. Because like I said, I have this mindset of getting independent whenever I feel like I just have a hard time delegating anybody else with a task, my craft, my life. I don't like entrusting nobody else because I'm like, yo, I got full control. This is my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that got out the streets when I was 16 years old from seeing my best friend get shot and killed. I'm the only one out of 100+ member gang to graduate high school and college. Me and Jesus Christ did that. Wasn't nobody else telling me you could do that. My whole gang, when I was starting being positive, they was shunning me for being positive, for trying to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's a trait I highly lack. Trauma. Like, I talk about trauma to y'all, but not knowing that, wow, Marquand, you still traumatized.
Look in the mirror.
Badly. Like, dude, God, like, bro, I've been showing you as a leader in 2014, but you wasn't listening correctly. You was only being independent. You wasn't taking the advice that Chris Brown was giving you when he came in your life. Right. The positive
That's
male
important.
figures. Yeah, like when Mikey was telling us, like, come to church. Right. I was like, bro, I'll come to church Sunday. Sunday, he would call me. Sunday would come, he would call me, and I'd be like, boom, I wouldn't even answer the phone for him. And this was going on for like 4 years. So this is what us young men, we naturally do. Young women too. If they ain't got a father there, they don't trust no man. They automatically got trust issues, and it don't help when they put music in their mind. Drake trust issues is already embedded in that and not even helping them grow out of that.
What about like with a woman? So like for a female having like that strong woman positive role model in their life, and by them not having that, they are maybe more prone to listen to like a trust issue or songs that degrade women. Yeah. Right. So I fight. How you say it goes both ways. And you said his last podcast. You said one of the greatest lessons you learned was life isn't about us. Life isn't about us, and I think that's kind of related to your circumstance, because as a baby, all right, as a young one is me, is mine. Like I have two kids myself, so it's mine, it's me, like just me. But as we get older, you have to learn how to share. You have to learn how to give. You have to learn how to work with others. And like you said, coming up in high school, it was you by yourself in Jesus Christ that got you out of your situation.
Yeah.
But now it's time to hit that next maturity where now it's kind of incorporate others around that, which is the hardest part. And I think really for the African American community is we're bad at delegating our tasks, our other responsibilities to other people, and that's why a lot of times Black people, when they are entrepreneurs, they are so entrepreneurs. Like it's just them. It's not they don't have a team around them. So I think more than anything, I think that's a African American community problem more than
because we grew up in poverty, bro, and we were always taught that you got to move out the house by 18 or all your friends gonna shun you for living with your mom after you turn 18. I'm like, what? Like that's the best financial decision to live with your mom. Like you see these white college kids who move back in after they graduate until they get to a certain level. That's why they so wealthy. Us as Black people, whatever, people with a poverty mindset, we like to think you have to be independent. That's why you see so many young immature people getting pregnant at 20 and 19 years old and create more generational curses because they immature and having kids at an immature stage and passing down those traits to them. So people having kids saying like, oh, my kid gonna change my life. No, don't do that to your kid. They didn't ask for all that trauma that you got because you lacked emotional maturity. You know what I'm saying? You was out here doing whatever you want because you wanted to move out early at 18 and drink. That's a lot of reason why people want to move out. They don't want to move out just because they want their own stuff. They want to move out because they want to do whatever they want and be disobedient to God's word. You know what I'm saying? Then when correction come, like their parents been trying to help them their whole life, they like, nah, you trying to bash me. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing wrong with that. With you stand with your parents. Don't let nobody tell y'all that there's something wrong with standing with your parents. It's not. Until you get to a point of wealthiness and a point of financial security, then you move. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with taking risks also, but don't let the rail tell you that just because you're 19, it's time to move out. No, that's what society done taught y'all. That's wrong. That's totally wrong.
And I think that's more of an American culture value because like America, like I learned this in college in a sociology class. Like, America is more individual, while more Eastern countries they're more like family, and that's why or to end. If you notice, the wealthiest group, it's not individual, it's families. The wealth lies with the Rockefeller, the Rothschild, the Disneys, the Waltons. It's all about family. But I think what's very important is everybody have their own story. Like it's been countless times where I watched a video on YouTube and a guy is 25 or 23. He moved back home. Same with one guy from Baltimore. He moved back home at age 23. He had $100,000, bro. And stay living at home because he had a plan, had a vision. He said, I'm gonna stack up until I can buy a food truck to run my business. So he could have moved out. He had $100,000 stacked up, but he had that vision and that plan. So it's not about this. It's not about what you go through, but how you go through it.
Your response, bro. Exactly what you're saying. I love that because look, bro, I'm reading Proverbs today in the Bible. In Proverbs, it's all about wisdom and knowledge and what we say, God. And it said, pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who take advice.
Facts.
Woo, so I'm like, when I'm talking about the traumatic traits of father, this young man, I'm like, yo, I'm not comparing me and you, but I'm like, yo, B had his dad, so I see why B don't have no problem going out there and being a big community person. And you told me like, bro, you struggle asking for help. You got a pride issue, and that's why. That's part of the traits. And so I'm like thinking, I'm like super wise. I know I'm wise, but God, like, you still got a stronghold on you. And that stronghold is that you don't take advice all the time because of what you went through. And I brought you this far, and you taking too much of the credit for getting out of the streets. Like, just being very transparent and being self-assessing with myself and not lying to myself that I took too much credit. I talk about Jesus Christ and all this, but I really didn't have no male figures. And they said pride only breeds crows. So pride is when you think too highly of yourself. And breed means to produce. And crows means high arguments. And you producing heated arguments and disagreements with those you usually have agreements with about a certain principle. So that's what I'm saying. When people can't take correction from an emotional maturity standpoint, what do that create? Arguments. Because you don't want to take advice because somebody trying to help you grow. And that's the point. I'm at right now. I have $1 million mentors, but I'm not all the way in with their advice.
Right.
Because I'm like, yo, you seen it from a street perspective. You wasn't in the streets. My mentors, I'm like, bro, you wasn't in the streets,
Yeah,
bro.
you can't relate to me, man.
Yeah,
How you tell me what to do, cut?
Yeah,
Right.
you was born into a wealthy family. I wasn't. Right. You know what I'm saying? When I was 16 years old, this happened. I had my friends telling me they was gonna kill me for getting out of the streets. Like, what? Yeah. That's traumatizing, bro. So that's what stick with me to this day. Like I always talk about Wesley, him dying in my arms. It wasn't that. I'm gonna repeat this to y'all a million more times. It wasn't just Wesley. It was the streets also, and how my homies was mad at me for changing my life. Like, that is very traumatizing, dude. Like, that's weird. Like, and this is being a 17, 16-year-old kid. Like, bro, I'm just trying to do the right thing, bro. You can't support me for trying to get out the streets and not get shot and killed next. So, man, it's definitely, bro.
That's a dangerous environment, a dangerous circle to be in. But going back to, I thought you said it a lot. You said you had mentors who kept telling you what to do, but you didn't apply it. And people love to say knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Applied knowledge is power. Amen. So that's something. I'm working on. That's one of the biggest things I work on, because I do read a lot. I read a bunch. So I can't have a tendency where I can know something but I don't apply it. So at the extent that we apply our knowledge is, I believe that's the extent that our level of success will grow. The extent that the person that we become. That's most important. It's like, who are we becoming? All right. So it's not necessarily about success. It's about who you become. To be who you become on that journey to success, and who you must become to be successful. So from this whole conversation, it sounds like for you to become that person, the next step is to go more on dependence versus independence.
Yeah, that's in from the 7 habits we've been reading, bro. Yeah. Instantly when I was studying this morning, it's crazy how our conversations come into fruition. So we talked about, you was like, bro, you don't be reading the 7 habits no more. And I'm just like, because I'm reading the Bible more. You know what I'm saying? But like, since you told me that, like, what's been on my mind is like, you need to get back in 7 habits, because I learned a lot from that. That's where I started talking about emotional maturity so much. And what I also realized about the 7 habits is that it break down things to the core. So that kind of helped me with my technique as a speaker.
The character.
It's like, yo, you got to dig, because Stephen McCovey was digging, bro. And like, people don't realize Stephen McCovey, like Sylvester Stallone, I'm also reading his book about persistence and the 8 attributes I told you about. Like Sylvester Stallone, like he was denied like 600 screenplays before he made the movie Rocky. And he was inspired by Muhammad Ali. And then some other guy, and Muhammad Ali was like a 30-1 overdog. Like, they picked him 30-1. Like, that's a huge blow. Like, they gave the dude no shot, like 3-second knockout. That's what they was talking about. Sylvester Stallone, like, dang, they sleeping on this dude heavy. Like, what if he come in there and knock Muhammad Ali out? So Sylvester Stallone, like, I'm gonna make a movie with Rocky, the old guy. He the huge underdog, and then he gonna beat the young black athletic kid, and then he dominated. Right. And you see so much inspiration came out of that. Now I'm gonna do a motivational video soon based on that.
That's dope. And that's scary as well. America love the story of the rise and fall.
Man.
The rise and fall, like, is a documentary on CNN about a motivational speaker named James Arthur Ray. And it's called The Rise and Fall of James Arthur Ray. Like, people love to pump you up just to throw you back down. So that's something that anybody on the road to success got to be aware about, because the demons and stuff that we do now that that we know is wrong will come to light when we get to the top.
Yeah, that's
So,
that's
like,
great you saying that, because what I tell people, I'm like, stop ignoring the problem, because the problem not just gonna leave because you ignore it. It's gonna come back 10 years later when God trying to provide you a great opportunity, but you ignored the problem 10 years ago, and now it caught up to you because you thinking your whole life good and your ego then caught up to you. Now you thinking everything good. You got money, you got your cars, but you forgot the internal part, which is your character. Like we say all the time, bro, your character is gonna create so many opportunities for you. It's like skip talent. When people see your persistence, they're gonna be like, yeah, I want him on my team. Like, it's people that I see right now in the city. They don't know I'm watching them, but I'm like, man, I love the way they carry themselves. Right. Like, I will have them on this team just because the way they carry themselves, because I know they're not going to spoil the brand,
Name one person.
No, can't do that, man.
Bring him out.
Nah, he's stupid. But no, man, it's life.
I named somebody. I'll shout out my boy IU. IU doing his thing, man. Shout out to IU if you watching it. Shout out to you, man. I'm watching. You doing your thing. So that's my person. I like what he carrying himself, and that's somebody who been dedicated to his craft for a long time now. And now I'm starting to see like the success and more artists. Like now, hey, if you're an artist and you from this area, you have to do a video with IU. So shout out to IU.
Yeah, like I was saying though about correction, man, and using your trauma correctly, because I see, like, I have conversations with homeboys all the time, and we just discussing other people and us too, talking about like when you make decisions based off only emotion, you make an incorrect decision 90% of the time, because that's poor judgment. Yeah. Now you blind. Now you're not thinking from a point of wisdom. Like the Bible warn you about that all the time. Like, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. You're not supposed to be a fool. A fool is a person who acts unwisely. You know, they don't think about the judgment of a situation. They don't step back from the situation. Like we talk about the 7 habits and pull all emotion in from it and see who correct. So I don't care if my sister called me and tell me like she got into a fight with somebody. I'm like, what did you do first? I want to know what you did. How did it even escalate to that point? Without biasness though. That's how you really get down to the core of things. So when your friend trying to tell you that somebody not good for you, y'all need to probably take that and listen to them. Just because you're alone, that don't mean you should just automatically go jump into a relationship. You don't realize that year God trying to get you to spend alone is when He trying to get you to know yourself the most. Y'all need to understand and stop running to people and jumping from relationship to relationship, because you killing yourself. You hurting yourself. That's why y'all end up making poor decisions down the road. And now you too damaged, man, to be around anybody. So you got to take that time to yourself. It might take a year or two, but it's glory on the other side of it, right, B? Everybody was alone before. There's stories of people who've been alone 5 years and found the love of their life. It's people who've been in relationships 4 years and they got out of a relationship 2 weeks later. They found the love of their life because that person that they was with was treating them incorrectly. Like I see so many people say like my relationships never worked. I've been in 8 relationships, but they never worked. Why? I'm like, why? Have you thought about you? Like I was having a conversation with a friend and she was like, man, I wrote down what I want most in a man. I'm like, okay, did you write down what you can offer to? Like for real, I'm like, you can't do that. That's not how it's gonna work, because you're not thinking about you. What can you offer? What if he bring you all these things? Now, which you gotta look at yourself and like, ooh, can I match that? Match the offer. Like when in the NBA, when somebody get offered a contract, the other team is like, no, I'm gonna match this offer because I want my player back. Right? So it's the same way with any situation in life. You gotta bring something to the table, because in alignment with what God say, giving is better than receiving. Facts. So.
Facts. And I'm gonna leave off with my saving tip from the day. So I'm gonna use that for my last practical information. So today my saving tip was build relationships with high income people. That is a way you can save money. How? How can you save money by building relationships with high income people? I know really in the African American community, a lot of people love to say that rich people are greedy, rich people are, I don't know, all the bad stuff. But from my experience, they're the most giving, the most generous, the most accepting, the most, housewarming people. And the way you can save money is when you go out to eat, instead of you paying for that bill, a high income friend will gladly pay for it. Yeah. And you take trips, go to events. So like that. But the key point is you must be a person of value. Like Marquand said, you have to bring something to the table. You can't just go out there and say, hey, can I just hang out with you? No, you have to be a person of value. And an easy way to be a person of value is to have a curious mind. So even if you have your own business or not doing anything like popular, just by you having a curious mind, asking questions, that high income person will be more acceptable to having you around them. So I would definitely encourage all of us. I need to do better at myself, reaching the next level. So 1 week I might talk to somebody who have $1 million. So now I got to put myself outside my comfort zone. Talk to somebody who got $10 million. So keep growing. But I would definitely encourage everybody to be curious and ask questions when you can. So.
Yeah, and like you said, step out your comfort zone. You might be 10 no's away from the perfect yes. Facts. Always remember that, and stop driving without a rear view mirror. So I'm talking about stop driving and doing everything on your own. A great man told me don't practice in isolation because you don't got nobody to judge you. And I'm talking about from a righteous standpoint, telling you this is where you lack, this is where you lack, this is where you lack, and you need to grow here. And once somebody give you that information, stop running from it. Like everybody not out to get y'all, man. They not out to get y'all. Everybody not. that's trauma that y'all dealing with. I see that with so many people. Like, yeah, I went through this, so this is why I act like this. No, kill that. Once you kill that mindset, people will start coming in your life. People will start gravitating towards you when they see you wanting to really change. Yeah. But if you out here lacking, just living like you're going to live forever, like you can't die tomorrow or even 5 minutes from now, what you think going to happen? You're going to keep getting the same results. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Right. Always remember that, man. So, and also, if you're watching this,
like and subscribe for show.
I'm looking to take people to lunch. You know, I want to talk to people about their emotional problems, you know, about emotional healing, about character issues. If you got any belief issues about life or anything you questioning God, like, why you here on earth? You know, I'm one of those people you could come and talk to. I'll spend 2-3 hours with you, take you out to eat.
Free lunch.
Yeah.
Take what's off.
This is for free.
You heard it.
And y'all better get it now because a couple years from now, it ain't going to be free. Just letting y'all know, man. So, y'all stay inspired and, you know, remember that it's not about you. Your pain is not about you, and your purpose is always bigger than whatever you go through. Think about begin with the end in mind, right, B? 7 habits, begin with the end in mind. So for me, when Wesley died, I knew that it wasn't about me at a certain point. Like we said on the last cast that we're going to come out with too, I knew that it was going to get to a point to where I was going to inspire somebody. So this is why I'm here speaking to y'all nowadays. And, yeah, that's all I can say. We're going to see y'all later, man, and we love y'all. Shout out to Big and Pop.
Shout out to the dogs.
Yeah,
man.
for the positivity they left in the world in certain areas.
It was all a dream. Yeah, one time it was all a dream, man.
Be the one, man. Be the one.
It's BeThe One podcast. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Peace.